Hello, my name is Joey Proctor, and this is my GPY410 project focused on rewilding of Sandy Pines Recreation Community. Sandy Pines is an over 800-acre campground that consists of over 2,000 member sites, as well as many recreational opportunities such as a 200-acre lake, playgrounds, its own water park, and a full golf course. And a little bit of history on the area: it was originally a radish and onion farm, but was flooded in 1971 to create what is now the man-made lake. So there are three challenges that face Sandy Pines today that I've identified, and I believe all of these feed into each other to some extent. The first challenge is the overuse of natural resources, and this comes in the form of the constant use of well water to maintain lake levels, clearing forest areas for future development, and a lack of incentive for residents to reduce, reuse, and recycle. The second challenge is the linear consumption of goods and services. While Sandy Pines is a campground, we can expect to see the use of single-use plastics, excessive paper waste, and waste pollution such as cans, bottles, water toys, and loose trash that all have a negative effect on the environment surrounding it. The third and final challenge that I've identified is the pollution and fragmentation of the natural landscape. Because this is a developing area with an increasing population, what seems like every summer, it's easy to see how the patches of forest in the area are decreasing in both size and diversity. Another major problem that Sandy Pines faces is the sedimentation of their man-made lake, as it is only around 5 feet deep. Another issue that we face is the pollution and animal reliance on humans. So, for example, the booming raccoon population that relies on food that we throw out. So, what's the solution? It is shifting towards a circular communal economy, and this is our goal. The goal of this project is to introduce ways in which Sandy Pines can become a more environmentally conscious community. The objectives of this project are simple. It is to implement environmental friendly practices at cost effectiveness and interest levels, create a community culture around the environment to engage residents, and find a balance between resident enjoyment and ecosystem needs that provides for both human activity and the natural world that supports it. So for my methodology, we like to think of this as the process to make Sandy Pines more natural, but in a fun way that will appeal to residents. So I've come up with my methodology linear model that goes off of the design thinking process, and it starts with empathizing and data collection through the use of surveys, interviews, and data analysis about the landscape. We then move to the definition stage where we seek out the most significant problems that face Sandy Pines, and we also want to figure out the moral why, because people will not be incentivized to go along with our plans if we do not show them why they should or why they will benefit from what we are doing. The next step is to create solutions to these problems, keeping in mind the feasibility of what we're able to do and the three pillars of sustainability in which we should follow. The next step is to create prototypes that will serve as models of sustainability for what we believe are the best recommendations that will move Sandy Pines toward a more sustainable future. We should also expect failure in this step because we know that not all prototypes will be perfect. The final step is to test these prototypes and actually implement them into the environment and see what works and see what doesn't, and then make changes based on that feedback. So for my expected results, I wanted to create a pyramid of steps that illustrated how we are going to focus this challenge. So the first step is obviously to have an environmental focus overall. But we can split this into two subsections of the environmental sphere and the social sphere. So for the environmental sphere, we are focusing on actually implementing action that will firsthand have a positive impact on the environment. So this includes cleanups and invasive species removal, the creation of pollinator and communal food gardens, and fundraising rewilding projects for areas that have been clear cut but also have not been developed. And then on the other side of this, we have the social sphere, in which we want to interact with the residents and get them engaged in what we're doing, because they too are investing in these suggestions and in their future. And with this, we can use recycling incentives and awareness events and education to explain to them why these steps will create benefits for not only them, but for a healthier environment for them to enjoy. And I've collected some potential scholarly sources. Some of these focus on lake and watershed management because the main element of this landscape is the man-made lake. So we want to focus on the proper ways in which we can manage and restore this system. I also have resources about the benefits of community food gardens and how it creates a more communal structure in which people see the value of not only their neighbors but of the environment around them. And I also have a source about the governance of sustainable development and how local communities can work together to suggest the most effective and cost efficient ways in which they can become a more sustainable community. Thank you.